Welcome to the Honest Business Podcast. This is the show for ambitious, value-driven business owners who are actively building a business that works for them. Hi, I'm May James, and I'm here to make scaling your business easier and more rewarding than ever. Each week, we will dive into simple, sustainable strategy and pragmatic leadership discussion to support you as you take imperfect action on your entrepreneurial journey. If you want to stay ahead, exceed your growth goals, and have a purposeful, thriving business, then keep on listening. Year of Clarity, the coveted business development program that puts strategic planning at the forefront and provides direct answers and solutions to your business hurdles, is back for 2023. It is now open for enrolment with an amazing Black Friday end-of-year discount of 58% for a limited time only. Year of Clarity allows you to constantly be ahead of your competitors and ensures that the time you spend working on your business is put to good use. Join Year of Clarity today for just 12 payments of £45, or if you love a bargain, pay in full and benefit from a further £120 saving. Head straight to the show notes and click the link to secure your spot. Hello and welcome back to the Honest Business Podcast. I hope you are really well. It is November. It is busy. I don't know if you are also feeling that. I don't know if your industry is similar and this end of year is hectic and there's a lot going on. And if that is the case, I hope you are holding up well. And if you are chilling and having just a jolly time, then also amazing. Hope you're enjoying that. Today's episode is a really good one, all about this one thing that you can do. Now, this is never the only one thing. This is not me saying, do this one thing and everything will change. Although it can do, but that's not what I'm promoting. I'm not saying that here's the one secret you're missing or anything like that, because I don't believe in that. You know, it's about business success. It's about building something from the ground up, and that takes multiple different things and multiple different avenues, and it's not as simple as just do one thing. However, the whole point in sharing this episode today was because there is something you can do that will change so much if it's done well and if it's done consistently. So the one thing that you can do in 2023, oh my goodness, to have a record-breaking year is consistent planning and strategic reflection. Now, you might think that's two things. I suppose it's two actions, but they're so interlinked with each other that for me it's one category. So consistent planning and strategic reflection. I'm going to talk through that in this episode. I'm going to talk through what that means, how you do it, why do it, like why am I talking about this? So buckle in. It's going to be good. The thing I want to address before we go into that is looking at what does your record-breaking year look like for you? What does that mean? Because that doesn't have to be money. For most people it will be. It will be revenue, it might be cash, it might be sales, it could be orders, contracts signed, whatever. It might not be though. So what does record-breaking mean for you? Does that mean that you'll have the most time off that you've ever done, or you grow your audience by the most you've ever done? Or what does record-breaking mean for you? Or you have, the highest positive customer reviews. Like, you decide what that means for yourself. Although I would say for a lot of people that does involve money and other things, and think about that. The other thing to then think about is how do you want to feel in 2023 and at the end of it. And that is something that people go around in circles with, because the initial thing you get in your head sometimes isn't really what it is you actually want. It's just what your current state is allowing you to feel, and that is not always the actual thing, which I definitely resonate with, and many people that I work with do. But moving on from that, when we look at consistent planning and strategic reflection, those are two key core concepts that are so overlooked and are often just kind of put to one side or done once a year. Done once a year and forgotten about, or done twice a year and forgotten about, or 4 times a year and forgotten about. And it is very blasé. And what I want to say to you is that process that you can opt into doing, and that you can opt into fully understanding and getting into a habit of and actually doing, can massively change your business and can fully shift how your business works day to day, how it flows, how it feels, how it just lives and breathes. Because it doesn't matter what size your business is, whether you actually haven't even launched yet, or whether you are running a multi-million pound business, this is key and everybody needs to do it. So consistent planning, and the consistent bit's the really important bit. Planning is important, strategic planning is important. strategy planning is important. There's a whole host of different types of planning. But what I'm talking about with consistent planning is thinking about, when are you going to plan all the time to be always looking ahead? And if you can always be looking ahead, that is how you will have a record-breaking year in 2023. 2023 is not going to work just running day to day. That's where people are going to really suffer and really struggle. So you really got to get clear with yourself of, right, I need to prioritize planning. I need to prioritize reflection. I need to prioritize, what am I doing beyond that month, week, day, even year for some of you, depending on how big the business is. That commitment to consistently planning is going to allow you to unlock so many other things in business, and it'll also allow you to feel calm. So there's a real correlation between people who have a plan, people who are following a plan, people who have a strategy, and people know what they're doing, and then calmness and at ease and feeling satisfied in business. There also is a correlation between people who are unorganised, who don't have a plan, who are lost, who are going through a change but then don't actually have anything to support them with that, and then feeling unhappy, frustrated, some people would report a failure, really struggling to grasp the feeling of this is okay. Now, I'm not saying that you have to fall in one or two of those camps. It is that you might switch between them. It might be that neither of those work for you, and that's fine. But we have to acknowledge that planning and consistent planning is the difference between having a 100k year and a 250k year. It's the difference between having a 20k year and a 50k year. And that is hard to fully execute. So people, you might listen to this and agree with me. You think, yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I can get on board with that. I can see what you're saying. Great. The actual execution of that, very hard. People can really, really struggle. Now, as a small business, if you're a small business, which you will be if you're listening to this, I need you to do your consistent planning every month. Ideally, you'd have some element of it in a weekly basis, but not everyone can do that. And I'm not someone who's going to say you should be doing something that's so unrealistic, because you can't always. But having an every month check-in, really important, really necessary. And you can do that with yourself. You can also do it with something I'm going to talk about towards the end of this the podcast. But having this monthly check-in point is really key in order to get you to actually move forward. Because what happens is when you don't do it and you do it quarterly, is that everything gets dragged out. Everything becomes longer, everything takes longer, the kind of mood and feeling of the business just stagnates. It can feel flat, it gets stuck into ruts. You can be playing the same game for 3 months and then 6 months, and then all of a sudden you've got to the end of the year and you're still in the same position. And that is not about shame, and it's not about making you feel bad. It's about understanding that there has to be points that cause activation and that cause disruption. And as I mentioned at the beginning, for some people that's a yearly thing. It's like once a year we do plan and that's it. So that's the disruption point. What I need to get you used to and get you involved with is having a monthly disruption point for you to say, right, is this working? Is this not? Do we want to continue with this? Do we not? If the answer is yes, great. The disruption point is, let's keep going. This is working. But if you don't have that disruption point, you don't actually know. And so you're just blindly going around your business day to day, taking action. If the disruption point is, and the answer to those questions is, this isn't working, or this isn't feeling good, then it's like, right, okay, let's move. It's time to move. And that, again, for me, saying it to you is very simple. Really simple. You might be like, this podcast is really boring. But the reality of it is that this consistent planning is what makes the difference of the edge above you and the competitors. It is what keeps you always moving forward. It is what allows your cash flow to stay at a really constant, reliable rate, or increase to a constant, reliable rate. Consistent planning allows for your cash flow not to have huge, massive dips. Now, I'm not saying you can protect and mitigate against everything. You can't. But there is a huge amount of things that you can do. And that, this consistency is what really makes the difference. Now, moving off from that into strategic reflection and talk about what that looks like. Strategic reflection is not talked about an awful lot in business, and it really should be, because it's actually what is the pointer enabled to get to the planning part. So strategic reflection is where you're not just thinking about what went well, what didn't. It's about understanding what action did we take and what did that mean for the business. Now, people don't measure this, and they should do. And if you've got a team and you are tracking, investment and output and who, is it worth having X and Y amount of people, you need to do this on a big scale and really look at what is the cost and, what is the output and what is the result and what are we getting from X, Y, and Z thing. And strategic reflection allows you to do that in a way that is not hugely emotional, which is the bit that's difficult with reflection, because reflection is very emotional based, it's steeped in emotion, and that's good, right? We need emotion, but there's also a point where you have to look at it pragmatically and you have to be like, right, this is what this means, this is what that means, blah, 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 blah. And so you need to think about when in your month are you having a point for strategic reflection? When are you saying like, yeah, okay, this isn't what was meant to happen and the output that we thought was going to happen didn't? When in the month are you collecting data? When in the month are you really sitting with yourself and thinking, yeah, this is what the facts are telling me, as in the data is telling me, and this is what I'm feeling. A strategic reflection brings in the two of them. It's not about not having any emotion, but it's about understanding how do you blend that together. And my argument is that when you blend that together, you create a powerful result, and you use that powerful result to guide your planning to then create a clear strategy and a strategic plan for the month ahead that then makes sense, and you distribute to whoever you need to distribute, whether that's yourself or whether that's team members, and you follow that. Now, strategic reflection, if you are going to get good at this, you have to get better at managing and identifying emotion, success points, KPIs, and really understanding what does that mean. Now, I don't want to get too technical because this isn't difficult, right? This isn't like you don't have to make it fancy. It doesn't have to be anything major. In Year of Clarity, which is what I'm going to talk to you about towards the end of this podcast, I have a spreadsheet that people are getting this year, which is literally has it in, and it's basic as anything. It's just some series of questions and some things that they need to add in that will together create a strategic reflection kind of opportunity. And it doesn't have to be really, really fancy and really, really, it doesn't have to look amazing. But what it does need to do is it needs to get you to stop and think, and to get you to really assess what that means for you as a business overall. Now, I want to just talk about why that works and how that works. I have a bit, but I'm going to just touch on it a little bit more. So when you do this, things start to happen in your business, and some of the things I can't actually explain to you. I'm not saying it's magic. I'm not saying it's magic, although it might be. It's just once you get into this elevated state and this different way of looking at business and this shift, then shifting things start to happen. It's really fun and it's really cool, and people find that business becomes quite light and business becomes quite easy. And when I say easy, it's always hard, to some degree, but I mean easy in the day-to-day of it, easy in the month-to-month, easy in the making sales. Things really happen and become a lot lighter. Procrastination often dissipates, not completely and doesn't completely disappear, but it lowers. It becomes manageable. It gives people a reason to do it rather than a reason to find not to do something. And that's massive, because we know that business hugely is reliant on us being productive, and so many of us are crippled with procrastination and all the kind of things that stem off that. No one's immune to that, and I think you have to then decide how are you going to manage that, and are you going to. Most people don't. They just let it run rampant for so long, and that really damages their business success. Whereas you have an opportunity now to say, no, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to shift, and I'm going to make something create things in my life and create things in my calendar and create kind of checkpoints in my month that allow for productivity to occur and not procrastination. So that's why it works. Like, it really just shifts things and it allows you to have more space and time. And also, people, when you consistently plan and you do strategic reflection, you'll realize how much time you actually do have, even though you're telling yourself you don't have any time. That's a massive one, because it really allows for you to explore other alternatives that you hadn't thought about, in sense of like, well, does that have to take that long, or can I change that up, or does this activity need that many people, or can I automate that? Can I improve that system somehow? Like, there's a lot of questions that come up, but are really positive, game-changing questions. But that often only occurs if you actually give yourself the space and time to plan, to be strategic, to reflect. That all is a byproduct of that. Now, I want to talk to you about how you can do that very simply in 2023, and how do you actually physically do it? Because I know sometimes you're now sat here thinking, well, this is just another thing I've got to add to the list, and this is another thing that's just a pain, and like, what am I doing? Like, why have I got to do another thing? May's just given me another thing to do. And I have. So I want to just kind of also meet you with the solution. So you're not just sat thinking, great, here we go, another thing to add to the list. So how can you do this very simply? What you can do is create space in your diary to walk yourself through what I've just spoken about. Now, I haven't actually told you how to do it, and that's something that would take me, an hour long, which it's an hour I don't have right now. So apologies, but you could walk yourself through that. It's, you can do it. I have a team member who does it with me, and we do it, well, to some degree every week, but definitely every month. Because it's very difficult to do on your own, in the sense of you have to do it anyway, but in terms of you like being prompted to do it and reminding yourself and holding space for yourself can be quite challenging. So that can be, a bit difficult. However, I run a program that basically is this, that helps people to do this. It is quite different in the sense of a program because there isn't a curriculum. It's a program about planning and reflection and making people do the stuff that they need to do. So it basically does it, and you rock up and you do it, and then you go away and you implement, and Bob's your uncle. It's amazing and it's fantastic. So I'm going to talk to you about it now. The program is called Year of Clarity. Now, Year of Clarity was created last year and was around last year. So this year it is just coming to a close now, and we've had a fantastic cohort of people, of business owners, go through that this year from around the world. I think it was from 10 countries, which was so cool, and a really mixture of product and service-based businesses and different points of business. We had people who hadn't started their business and were in the planning stages of their business, up to multi-six-figure business. So there was everyone in there, anyone and everyone, whatever that thing is. There was a real, collection. The majority of them in there service-based, but there were product-based businesses as well in there. This year, it has been brought back due to people asking for it. And people started asking in June if they could sign up for 2023, which was quite extreme, and it felt very extreme to me, and was very lovely that people are enjoying it so much. And I've been very open and truthful all year about the fact that I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, because it's a very low cost program. And yeah, it was more so it was just going to be a one-off thing, and there wasn't an intention for it to be a yearly thing. However, fast forward to November 2022, and it is now happening. It's in the diary, it's happening. However, there are changes. So it's still called Year of Clarity. Year of Clarity is a fantastic name because it sums up what it is, I'm giving you a year of clarity in your business, and you yourself will have clarity. So it's a great name, we're keeping the name. However, the things that inside's different, the price is different, how it's going to be ran is slightly different. Nothing major, but just some key tweaks that's going to make it much better for whoever joins, which maybe it's you if you listen to this, who knows. And I'm really excited to have a new wave and invite a new wave of people in. It'll be lovely if some of the people who are there this year are choosing to come back. I don't know, and I'm not sure yet, and that's fine. But yes, I'm very excited to have welcome to new people. So if that is you, hello, welcome. I'm excited to get to know you and your business and really support you. But let's go further into what about like what in Year of Clarity allows you to be able to do. So Year of Clarity essentially allows you to consistently plan it, allows you to do a strategic reflection every single month. What Year of Clarity allows you to do just as a whole is plan, is make you really understand how business works, how it's going to work, how it's going to work for you. It gives you a point of movement. It gives you a point of, let's go, what's the next thing, what's the next thing? I need to constantly move. And that's really great because it keeps you on the straight and narrow, and it's also a very low time commitment. So the whole way that Year of Clarity works, and this took a while for us to design, like it really took a while to get this right, I wanted to create something basically for people who, and this is why it's important that it can be people at any stage of business. I mean, up to a certain point, like if you're running a 7-figure business, I wouldn't join this, but you can be mega multi-6 figures, and if you choose to utilize it and choose to work on it, like you can definitely get stuff out of it. Was that I wanted something that was low time, because so many people say to me, I want to work with you, but I don't have the time. I want to do this, I haven't got the time. It's like, okay, yeah, fine, get it. So but I had to make something where I was like, I felt really confident in it being a low time commitment, but still being high impact. So essentially, Year of Clarity, we only actually meet virtually on Zoom once a month, and we meet once a month for 2 hours. So instead of having 2 calls at 1 hour, we do 1 call, it's 2 hours long. So you've got to, put time in your diary to eke out 2 hours, but it's just a fixed point. It's once a month. And if you can't commit to doing that, if this sounds harsh, fine, but I really struggle to understand how you're going to have a record-breaking year. Like, you have obviously clicked on this episode because you want to have a record-breaking year, and if you're sat now thinking, God, I couldn't find 2 hours a month to do that, like, that's a real problem, because you're like, well, how's that gonna work? It's not, right? Like, to me, I'm like, why wouldn't you've got to find 2 hours? So anyway, there's a 2 hours is the main crux of the program, and that has this year worked really well in terms of getting people results. And I'm going to talk about some results and comments and things people have said this year, in case you're listening, you're like, oh, I want to hear what people have had to say. But in terms of what does the program allow you to do, I mean, the results people have had in terms of beyond just planning and reflection has been huge. And let's just talk through some people, actually. Should we just talk through some people and what? Let me tell you some of the things people have done this year from it. And then we're going to talk through some actual things that they've said about the program. So, participants last year some of them had their best years in business to date. Well, actually, the majority did. Like, I think there was only 2 or 3 that hadn't had their best year ever financially, which is like mega, considering this is like a low touch program. Like that figure would normally be very low, in terms of much lower than it is. People had increased sales and revenue. People definitely felt more in control of their business development. So that was a real key one for me. I wanted people to feel like, yeah, I know where I'm going. I know the direction. And that's really important. People, I mentioned before about procrastination, people stopped being stuck in that, which was really important, and actually started taking action. A lot of people felt like they actually understood finally what I've explained today about planning and strategy, and I haven't fully gone into that. I have a certain way of explaining it, but people for the first time were like, oh my goodness, I actually know what they mean by that now. And some people, have been in business for years, and they were like, this is the first time I fully get what that means. And when people say plan and goals and action and stuff like that, they were like, I actually understand what that means now, which was really cool. I'm trying to think what else. People really increased, confidence was a big one. A lot more people felt more confident to show up, to sell. Some people put themselves forward for awards and other things that they won that was like a real achievement for them. The other big one was about fear. So quite a lot of people felt like they were overcoming the fear of building a business and how heavy that feels. And it felt like they said that Year of Clarity made it feel a lot better for them. It was very uplifting. It was less heavy. It was more like, oh, this is possible. people raised their prices, people started selling more, which was really something that I was really happy about. And also, I think for most people, they really redefined what business meant or means to them and like what they truly want, which again is one of those ones that sounds very like easy and simple, but I think it takes time and it takes like space and hearing people, and that was really huge. That for me anyway, it feels really good to have people who are in that space. So yeah, I mean, what happens when you actually do Year of Clarity and actually implement that? I mean, huge things, like whatever you want to achieve kind of can happen if you're willing to kind of go there and really put the work in. What else are we going to talk about today? I'm trying to think what else I decided, what you might want to know about Year of Clarity. I mean, the episode's not necessarily about like a whole explanation of Year of Clarity. So if you want to read the sales page, you can go and read the sales page. It'll be linked below. Yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it. What should we talk about? How did it work? Yeah, how does it work is probably a good option. So when you, and because it's different this year as well, so if you're listening to this and you're already part of Year of Clarity, you might want to know what's the change? What is happening? The changes are, well, are we ready for a drum roll? The thing is, you probably listened to this episode, you've probably already seen what the changes are, so hey ho. This year it is better than ever. Even if I say so myself, I really think it's a lot better than before. And basically Year of Clarity runs in a 3-phase thing. So 3 phases to kind of guide you through a process of transformation. Phase 1, this is all new, this phase 1, which is what's exciting. In phase 1, that kicks off in January. The program starts in January, it starts on January the 9th, and then this thing I'm about to tell you about kicks off on January the 10th, which is a Tuesday. So in January, we are going to kick off the program by spending a whole day together, which is so fun, virtually on Zoom, and that's going to start at 11 a.m. in the morning and we'll run till about 5. There'll be like an hour break for lunch. Please do not worry, we're not going to be sat on Zoom just the whole time. We will have an hour break, and I'm going to make it fun, so don't stress if you're thinking, oh my goodness, that sounds so draining. It's going to be fun, and that is a 2023 planning day. And that's the purpose of it. And so what a way to kick off the program. Like, the price of the program is worth it, in my opinion, just for this day in January. Like, even if you just join for the day and then you decide you don't want to do anything else, it's still worth it. So yeah, you'll start planning your 23 year, your business activity, what you want it to look like. Prior to that, before the day, you will have completed an onboarding form. So there's an onboarding form which you send to you electronically. You click on the link, you fill it in, and then I review them. And I will use that to guide me and my kind of advice and my support for you throughout the year. Now, that was a decision I made last year. Is it hard? Does it take up a lot of my time? Yeah, because bearing in mind, however many people join, I'm then reading every single one of those things, which this is a low-cost group program. This isn't a, like, intimate thing in the sense of, like, Maze Accelerator has maximum 7 people, and my one-to-one is obviously one-to-one. So there's been a lot of decision, and this is why we weren't sure if we were going to do it this year, because it's a big time commitment from me to be able to offer it at a Black Friday rate that I do, and still give everything I want to give in it. So you complete your onboarding form. I will then look at it and review it. Then 6 days after the planning day, we then have a Q&A call. This is a one-off Q&A call. The sessions won't be like this all the time, but I wanted to have something in there for you to check back in with me after the day, because the day itself, you'll go away with loads of ideas and thoughts, but then you need some time to consolidate and work on them and kind of process, and there'll be things that you write that you then decide you don't want to do. So we're adding in a one-off Q&A session where you can kind of review what you did from the week before and ask me questions, and that will just be a kind of Q&A situation to kind of cement that situation. You will also, at the end of January, be matched with an accountability buddy, which is so fun, and this is another new addition for 2023. This is an optional one. If you don't want to do this, if this is something that scares you, or you're not very good at being sociable, or you don't want to have just another thing, totally fine. Totally get it. To be honest, I probably would be that. You don't have to. There will be something on the onboarding form that says, do you want an accountability buddy or do you not? So there's no like pressure with that one. But if you do choose to have that, I am going to personally match people up. So it'll be a case of me again sitting and going through forms and going through what I know of them so far and working out who do I think is going to be a really great match for someone else, and we'll pair you together. The idea of that is it's totally casual. You can be as in contact with each other if you want. It's not going to be me leading it. So, you know, if you talk to each other for one time and then you actually decide you don't want to talk to each other, that's totally fine. It's not structured in any way. But I think it's a very nice way to connect with someone who you otherwise would never connect with, you know? Like, there's definitely been relationships formed in Year of Clarity this year from people that never would have crossed paths, but have found real value in talking to each other and speaking with each other and sharing with each other. And so I wanted to kind of create that more intentionally and give people an opportunity to do that should they wish to. So that's there. That's phase 1. So January is going to be a big month, right? And I wanted that because I think it will really serve you well throughout the year and really give you something to grow from. Then phase 2 is kind of the main bulk of the program, which is the normal format of call that will kick in at the beginning of February. So the beginning of February we'll have Get Your Shit Together session, which I really like the name of because it kind of does what it says on the tin of it's a mixture. Like, these calls, they're not a coaching call, but they're not a workshop. Well, it is a coaching call, but it's not just a coaching call. So it was like, do we call it a coaching call? Do we call it a workshop? Do we call it whatever? So I was like, actually, let's just name it something completely different. And so we named it Get Your Shit Together Sessions, which essentially will contain a space in them will kick off where you are going to complete your spreadsheet. Now, the spreadsheet is another new addition for 2023, which is super exciting. That is something that people asked for in Year of Clarity this year, and so we have listened and provided what the people want. And so it's going to mean that everything is kind of condensed down, and it'll mean the call runs smoother and it'll go faster compared to if you were listening and you were in last year. It's going to go a much better way, I think. So you will complete the spreadsheet for the month. That will make more sense if you join. And the idea is that you start completing that before you join the call. And then in the call, you kind of are going to discuss what's on the spreadsheet, how you feel, what's going on. There also will be a few kind of bits from me where I'm kind of like probing into getting you to answer further into the question slightly. But that's how those sessions will start. And then you will also have a chance to speak with other people in a breakout room, which again was not something we started doing towards the end of this year because I just created Year of Clarity last year and I just assumed that people would not want to talk to each other. Now that sounds awful, doesn't it? But from past experience of holding groups and holding spaces, a lot of people, especially if you're not meeting every week, can get quite apprehensive about speaking to others, and I totally get it. So then I was like, right, we're not going to do that. But then there was a few opportunities where we did that last year. This year, it's kind of hard to work out whether it's this year or last year. And it worked really well, and actually people loved it, and they asked for more. And so we did start doing that. Now, it's not really intense, it's not really awkward, and it's just sort of 5-10 minutes, but it really kind of added a new level for people because people felt like they actually started to know, you know, each month you get to see a similar face or a different face. The group changes each time. But it was kind of nice to have that in there and kept it really human. And so we are going to keep that. So you have a little chat about, there'll be a specific question that I get you to kind of discuss together, which is really fun. And then once that part of the call is over, which we're estimating for that to take about 30 minutes, it might go to 45 minutes, but it's not going to be a huge amount of the call. This is a 2-hour call. The rest of that time, and this is where there's quite a change from last year, is going to be spent coaching and answering questions. So last year we did a Q&A, but it was not the main part of the session. That used to be a learning part, and we had a kind of a curriculum to Year of Clarity last year. Now, I've removed the curriculum part because when we started looking at when I was trying to measure where did the impact come from, what do people get most out of it, what do people want, I felt like it wasn't completely necessary. Now, it is helpful and is useful, but we've took it out this year, so it's not there. So instead, there's going to be way more time for questions, coaching, hot seat coaching, discussion, and that in itself will bring a lot of learning, because what we found was I was just not saying the same thing, because that's not true, but you can learn a lot from just listening to me coach someone else, that is a real transformational process versus us all sitting through a PowerPoint or a workshop sort of thing. So we're going to try that this year, and I think it'll be really fun because it also keeps the purpose of Year of Clarity around consistent planning, strategic reflection, coaching. And those three elements really, really allow you to kind of sit in movement and momentum. It also means that if you are joining and you are more advanced in business, it then is better for you, because what I was aware of is that some of the stuff we were going through curriculum-wise would potentially not be the most, I still believe that you would have found and learned stuff, but it wasn't always massively applicable. Whereas this is going to change, because if you are advanced in business or you've done a lot of business coaching, you know that even if you even watching me coach someone else on a topic that is not relevant to your business, you will find a huge amount of knowledge. It'll help your emotional intelligence, it'll help your leadership. There's so much you can observe, like yada yada yada. There's so much in that's valuable. So if you know with that sort of one is what I'm going to say on that. But that is kind of how that call is structured, and so there will be a lot of backwards and forwards. Now, if you can't join the call live, there'll be like an opportunity for you to submit a question or questions before the call, so you'll not miss out. I will basically go through them on the call, and the recording gets put in a Clarity Lounge, which is a Facebook group, and you can then watch the replay, etc., and your question will be answered, so you do not miss anything on that front. And that is kind of how phase 2 works. And phase 2 obviously repeats every month, because we have a call every single month. So you'll have that, and that is the main bulk and the kind of crux of the program. There's then phase 3. Now, phase 3 is important because this is the point where you get to choose how intense you choose to take it, how much you get involved with, how much you don't. So phase 3 is about what happens in between that main get your shit together session every month. So you have access to a few things that you choose to utilize. So there's the Clarity Lounge, which I've just touched on. That is essentially a Facebook group, and that is where you will share your wins. It's where you will watch the replays and get access to any slides, but there shouldn't be any slides this year, or there might be a couple, but it's not going to be like you'll need like 40 odd slides or anything. And you can also stay connected to the other people in the group. Now, this is where there has been a change from last year. So last year, people could then put their questions in the group, and I would come in the group and write rather lengthy, long responses and reply to people. The shift this year is going to be that if you leave a question in the Clarity Lounge, I will then answer it and pick it up on the next call, on the next Get Your Shit Together call. I will address the question there. So the Clarity Lounge this year is not really for me to be all up in there and constantly answering questions, because that's not going to happen. The main reason for that being is that just people don't participate in it, which is fine. But I'm not gonna... It's just about a value transaction. It doesn't make sense energetically for me to be in there. I will be in there, but it's not... What I mean is like me constantly showing up. If people don't want a community, they don't want a community, and that's fine. I think people want community in other ways, especially in 2023, and so we are kind of moving and pivoting with that, and that is all good there. So you also have that. Then you also, at the end of every quarter, will get a check-in. So there's a quarterly check-in, and this is another piece of accountability that is there to help you assess where you're at and really understand what progress have you made. Because again, I mentioned this at the beginning, you need to do this constantly. So we do it on a monthly basis, but then I also need you to do it on a quarterly basis, and you send that to me, and again, that's online, and I sit and I go through every single one, and I read every single one. So again, this isn't just you completed and then it goes into the ether and we never see it again. It's like I sit and read them, and I made that a real decision. And I think this is the difference, right? Some people, I'm not trying to say anyone should do what I do, or whether, what I do is better than anyone else in the sense of process. Like, it's fine, you do what you want. But for me, I'd much rather read your onboarding forms, read your quarterly check-ins, be able to give you a full-bodied answer when you leave a question in the Clarity Lounge, when that time comes around. Yeah, that for me feels really good, to be able to offer you my high-level mentorship and my high-level support, than it is me constantly just running around, being in there, answering questions all day long. So yeah, that is how that works, and that's how phase 3 works. So phase 3 is very much about you opting to choose how much you kind of want to be involved, how much you don't want to be involved, and that is all good with me. The biggest thing with Year of Clarity and how it works and how you get it to work for you is about you showing up. There's been a real correlation this year between people who show up to the calls live and people who don't. If you show up live, we've seen a much bigger ROI and higher return, which makes total sense. The joy of this program is it's a low time investment, but that's also like the other side of that is that you've got to show up. An additional part of that is that you have to do the work. Obviously, I can't do it for you, but I'm very sure if you're listening to this, you already know that. You're already in it, you get it, you understand kind of how this sort of stuff works. So that's what's included. It sounds very, when you're not inside of it, it doesn't really sound that exciting. It sounds a bit like, oh, okay. But when you're inside of it, there's a real buzz and there's a real like momentum comes from it, and I don't know, I just know it's so great in transformation, and it's such a unique offering. Like, there's not many offers, well, I don't know many, if any, but that really work in this way, which is fun. It excites me, and you know, it's not the most convenient. Yes, having just like a business membership would make so much more sense, but that's not what I want to do. The other thing to say as well is that this isn't a 12-month membership. It's not a membership you opt in out of. This is a 12-month program. So you commit to doing it for 12 months and you show up, and it'll be cool. It'll be good for your business. Like, really, really good. The other thing I want to talk to you about is the pricing and investment, because this is where it gets super exciting and really great. So I feel like I need a drum roll. That was so bad. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I've actually done that on the podcast. Sorry, anyone listening. That's awful. Pricing wise, I feel really strongly that I want people to be able to access this. I want it to be accessible. I want people to join. I don't want anyone to not be able to join because of cost. And if you actually want to join and you listen to this and you're like, I can't join because of cost, you need to just email me. Email support@majames.com. Put in the subject line Year of Clarity and just put one word in the body of the text. I mean, you can put more if you want, but if you just want to put one thing, just put kindness and I will get back to you. Because I do not believe that people shouldn't be able to join this. I want people to have access to high-level business support. You know, yes, it's only once a month. Yes, it's not constant. It's not the same as one-to-one consultant. It never will be, right? That costs 30 grand a year. This doesn't cost that. But I still truly believe that the impact is huge that it makes. So the price for Black Friday / end of year, and because we run it beyond Black Friday, so that's why I don't be like, it's only a Black Friday. Like, it is a Black Friday deal, but we run it longer than that, is £420 for the year, which is insane. Not 4,200, £420. One payment of £420, which is a 94% discount in terms of, if you look at it in terms of the value of what it is. In terms of what is the discount when it's not discounted for Black Friday, the discount is 58%, which is mega. That is huge, 58%. If you want to pay monthly, you can do. So you can do 12 payments of £45. Now, it's very hard for me to just not go on my high horse about why that is so incredible and amazing, but just think about it. £45 for what you're getting for 12 every month is huge. And also remember, you get that day in January. This is why I was saying at the beginning, like, for me, I'd join just for the day. Like, the £420 one payment, like, that'll be worth it just for the day itself. But anyway, that is a 92% discount off the total value. And in terms of when it is not discounted for Black Friday, that is a 54% saving. Now, why am I saying when it's not discounted for Black Friday? What I mean by that is because I'm trying to be really transparent and open with you, for you to understand, you know, are you getting a deal? Are you not? Are you understanding how much it is? Because I get that Black Friday can just be this like free for all, and people feel very much like, you know, people are like telling you and selling you all these things. So just to be clear here, when the price changes, which the price is going to change on the 15th of December, and this is what I'm saying by, I'm trying to do a lot of things to help not add to like the stress and the pressure of Black Friday. Like, yes, I want you to come and join now straight away as you're listening to this, but also know you have got time if you are someone who has to kind of think about it and not be sure. So just for reference, that means it's going to be open till the 15th of December at 10 p.m. and then the price changes to not a promotional price. So then the price is then going to go to $9.97 paid in full, which is still like really good value. And then, or if you want to do a payment plan, you do 12 payments of £97. So yeah, it depends what, if you want to wait until after the 15th of December, fine, but I don't know why you would. Like, you'd want to join now. And then there will be a point in January that it does completely close, and that's that sort of thing. But for now, I want to just focus on, for you, thinking about, you've got until the 15th of December to get in at this amazing, incredible promotional rate. It's £420. Like, that works out, if you go for the one payment option, I think that works out at like £35 a month. But I mean, obviously you're paying it in one thing, so it's not £35 a month. And obviously if you want to do 12 payments, it's £45. The discount is massive. I've purposely done it like that. I want it to be accessible. I want people to join and be like, oh my goodness, this is the best 420 quid I've ever spent on my business. I'm really strong, passionate about long-term containers, the benefit of long-term containers, the benefit of doing something over a long period of time. I don't believe in one-off things in the sense of like, I mean, sometimes it's fine obviously in business, but like, I mean, longer term, if you're going to do something about planning, there's no point in you doing a planning course that's a week long and that be it. I need you in there for like a 12-month period for you to really see sustained change. So yeah, it's a 12-month amazing program. I thought I'd just talk to you as well about why I do Year of Clarity. I've mentioned it. I just feel really strongly that, my rate to work with me one-on-one is not accessible to everyone. It never will be. I don't want it to be, like, my time is so precious and my expertise is so incredibly good is the best way I can say it. Like, it's good. It comes from a beautiful place. It comes from a place that's been crafted. It comes from a place of real humanness and understanding people, and I'm massively clever and incredible at what I do. And I know that might be hard hearing someone say that, especially a woman. We don't hear a lot of women talking really positively about themselves. But, my expertise and the service I give is phenomenal. And it changes lives and it changes businesses. And whilst Year of Clarity is not that, and it's not of that, it's not of that volume, and it's not of, I can't do that for everyone. This for me feels really good and really beautiful and really aligned with me to be able to hold a group of the next generation of leaders and the next generation of entrepreneurs and small business owners and people who maybe you just want to make 10 grand a year. That's fine by me. You can come into Year of Clarity. I'm not here to tell you you've got to go and make £1 million business. You don't have to. 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, 200 grand, 600 grand, like whatever you want, I can help you. It doesn't have to be this huge, massive thing. And I don't think there's a lot of programs and business spaces that are that way inclined, but then also still provide the highest level thing. Because this is the thing, right? That there are plenty of business stuff that's out there that's catered for people who don't want a massive business. But the problem with it is that it's held and hosted by people who aren't necessarily the best people to do it. And that's not me being rude. I'm just saying, like, this is why Year of Clarity is so unique, because you're getting such a expert level, high level access and kind of mentorship from at such a low cost. I mean, 420 quid to have me as your business coach for the year. It's pretty cool, right? Like, that's amazing. And that makes me really, really happy. So as I said, that's why I do Year of Clarity. And that's why I'm really happy that this year I've come to the decision that we are going to do it. Because as I mentioned before, that wasn't always the case, which was for many reasons. And for them, I'm not going to go into, but there was many reasons why that was potentially not going to happen this year. I am very happy that is happening. But to close out the episode, I'm going to read you out a few kind of bits from Year of Clarity that people have said and thought about and shared over the year. And then I'll also talk about how you can join. But let's talk about that now. So you can hit the link that is in my bio, as they say. But you can also, in the podcast, wherever you're listening to this, in the show notes, there will be a link and you can click on. Go to my Instagram at may.james_. That is going to have so much information, live videos, questions answered, everything about the program. Like if you want to kind of stalk it and feel it out and see what's going on, Instagram is definitely the best place to do that. It's also worth joining my mailing list, which you can do on Instagram. In the link in my bio, there's a thing that will say on the buttons, one of them will be join the CEO Edit newsletter. Get on that, because we will be emailing about Year of Clarity, so if you want to get the emails, that'll be fine. And if not, you can head to www.mayjames.com/Year of Clarity and you will be able to find the sign up page there. So many different options. And if you have any questions about Year of Clarity and you want to know more about it and you want to know something specific to your business, just come and message the Instagram inbox, the @may.james_. Send us a DM on that. It'll either be me that gets back to you or my amazing assistant Nancy, who's well equipped to answer questions as well. But it'll be me, to be fair, most of the time. It's only if I'm not available that it's her. So yeah, you can answer there. If you want to email me, you can, support@mayjames.com, but ideally I'd rather you message on Instagram if that's okay, because I can voice note you then as well, if you like a voice note. If you don't like a voice note, that's also fine, just say don't like a voice note. Right, so let me read out some stuff from Year of Clarity. Why not? Thanks for sticking with me. I know this is a long episode. So these are just quite random, but they're ones that I thought might be interesting, because I know when you're thinking about joining something, you're like, what's going on? So these are just some, and I'm not going to name everyone because this is just random. I'm just taking random snapshots from people, but people were asked, what was your biggest takeaway? And these have come throughout the year as well. So this isn't just necessarily the end of this year, it's just about throughout the year. So someone was saying about how to strategize about my wants and needs for the business and how to be resourceful about it, which I think is really cool. And they said when they were asked, what do you like most about Year of Clarity? They were saying about they loved how analytical it is, and then it demystifies many preconceptions about organising and growing a business, which I think that's so lovely. And this person's left a lovely comment that says they want me to know that I'm amazing and you're adding so much value, and thank you, which is so lovely and kind. Sorry if you can hear that. I keep hitting the phone off the microphone and my editor's going to be so annoyed about that. She's going to be like, May, stop moving. It's because I've got the phone in action today to shoot this episode. So thanks for just bearing with me. It is a bit casual and chaotic today, isn't it? Another person was saying about they are learning how to systemize business development operations thanks to Year of Clarity, which is really cool. Someone was saying how they don't feel one bit guilty or flinching when they give their fee, which is really huge, right? Because in Year of Clarity, we're not necessarily going through pricing or how to sell. It's just, we did do a sales plan and workshop, but that's not necessarily sales skills. But it was more so that what Year of Clarity gives them is that elevated confidence, is that, 5 minutes they get with me, that is enough to change this. And this is why I think it's important that don't just get stuck on the fact you're joining, because you're going to learn about planning and you're going to learn about strategic reflection. This is different, and it's much more knock-on effect stuff that makes a huge difference. Let's read. This is going to be even worse for the microphone. Please forgive me. I've got a print out of someone said something. So this is going to be great. So a couple of people wrote a few things in, and I thought I'd just read them to you. So somebody had said, May, you are changing my life in a way I never thought was possible, and I ain't seen nothing yet, which I love. I'm actually welling up as I type this, thank you. And they are in Year of Clarity, and that was a really beautiful message to receive, because they were obviously feeling all the feels and getting all the things from Year of Clarity that they needed. Someone else has said, May has made the world of business and its related strategies approachable and doable for me as a new mum. She's either streamlined or debunked a lot of business advice, which has kept me in a way from building the life I want for me and my family. May's shrewdness, practical knowledge, and forward thinking in the advice she has given me has helped me create an offer and prepare me to sell my one-to-one teaching program. Above all, she embodies the human essence that we need more of in business leadership, empathy and honesty. I thank May for her introducing Year of Clarity programs so I can be part of it, and it goes on. But that's really huge, right? Because I think it's obviously lovely to read nice words about yourself, but what I mean is I read that for you to just say that on the surface, this is a program about planning and reflection and you just doing that. But you don't need to join for that reason. That's going to be something you do in the program, but it's much more expansive than that. It's much more wider than that. It's a much more different outcome, and each person's outcome is different. You know, everyone gets something different from it. And so I'd really encourage you to think about, yeah, I'm going to join because I know I need to take this seriously and have that monthly check-in with myself and have that point of like, I want to have a record-breaking year, so I am going to listen to what May's saying and commit to doing this planning and the strategic reflection. But also join because you're excited to see what else you're going to get from it and what else you might take away that you haven't kind of thought about that you're going to take away. Someone else said that May is such an incredible inspiration. All the women in the group are so supportive. It's nice to have a safe space to share ideas and concerns. I think that's a really important one, because I think that's, you know, it's lost a lot in business. Someone else has put, reduced my stress level on things I haven't done yet and know I can do later in the year. That's big, because a lot of people come into the year feeling quite overwhelmed because everyone's like pressured about the year ahead, but it doesn't have to be this, you know, really stressful thing, and Year of Clarity definitely helps you with that. Someone else has put, they love that it's short and snappy and I run through everything, but if you needed, there is time for questions. This is something that's really huge. I am someone who talks very fast. Today I feel like I'm talking very slow, but normally if you listen to this, you know, I talk very fast. I'm the same in the sessions. We get through what we need to get through. I'm not in the business of like keeping everyone there for ages. Like, if the call doesn't need to be 2 hours, it won't be 2 hours. I can guarantee it probably will be. But if there's a week where it doesn't need to be, it won't be. Like, I'm not someone who, well, my time is really precious, and your time is very precious, but I really value my time. So, like, if it doesn't need to be long, it doesn't need to be long. And I loved that comment from someone, which is really, really cool. Someone else has said the planning is huge because it makes you see it in action steps. I want to take this and implement this all more in my own business, which is huge because someone was like, yeah, this needs to kind of make more sense. Someone put, what do you like most about Year of Clarity? And they said, you and the people. And I think that's really, like, often that can be very simple and people can look at that and be like, oh, well, whatever. It is about that though, isn't it? Like, I really attract amazing, lovely, beautiful people. And also, I should mention, like, if anyone is not a good fit, they're just removed, which we didn't have to do last year, and that really filled my heart with happiness. But just as a warning to anyone who's joining, do not worry about, like, there being someone in the group who then just makes it hell for everyone else. It won't happen with me. I won't put up with it. I refuse to. I have a policy on it. I just get rid. It is not okay and it's not acceptable. So, yeah, that's a really important one to note, because that comment really makes me happy. You know, you and the people, that's exactly what it is. It's about that, and that's really important. Right, maybe we'll leave it there. I mean, I could go on and on because we've got a lot of different feedback at the minute. But someone else said, I learned everything I've learned is new to me in business, so it's been really valuable. And they love the sense of community and also a safe space to ask questions with helpful and useful responses. And let's end on that, in the sense of, you know, in these sort of things, you can ask a question and then you get a response and then that's it. What I don't realise this because it's just my everyday, but what other people tell me who see my work is the way I answer questions is very different from many people. I will spend time understanding the question. I will give you an answer. I will fully contextualise it for you if you need to. Don't get me wrong, if you're asking the same question every single month and not taking action on it, I won't do that every single month because I'll say you haven't gone and done it, go and do it, and then let's have this discussion again. But for like 99% of the time, I take time to fully answer the question that you're asking me and make sure that you understand the answer. And that is really unique, right? It shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. But I know from personal experience of all the business stuff I've been in, and I've spent so much money on business development stuff, that is not the case. That's not the everyday thing. So as I hope you know and realise that. And it was really nice someone kind of pointed that out there. And yeah, we could keep going on and on, but maybe I'll put some more on Instagram if you're interested in seeing more of what people had to say. Thank you for listening to this episode. I really hope you come and join me inside a Year of Clarity. It's a fantastic place, and also the people in it really make it as well. So, you know, if you listen to this podcast, you're probably a really lovely person with a really cool business or a really cool business idea. Come and join us. Come and say hi and come and be part of Year of Clarity. The other amazing thing is you don't have to do anything. Once you sign up, just sign up, and then you can deal with everything in January. You don't have to do anything right now. You don't even have to think about it. But you do need to get your place. Remember, it's £420 for the year. That's one payment. Or you can pay 12 payments of £45, which then equals £540. So if you choose to pay in full, I basically put a additional special offer on where you saved another £120, which is super exciting and great. So yes, I'll speak to you later. If you have any questions, drop me a DM over on Instagram, and I'll see you next week in the podcast. Bye, take care. Thanks for listening to the Honest Business Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure that you are subscribed, and if you'd like to support the podcast, please share it with others and leave a rating and review. To catch up with all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at may.james_, where I share the raw, uncut, behind-the-scenes reality of what running multiple businesses every day truly looks like. As always, links and any resources that were mentioned in the episode will be in the show notes below. That's all for this episode, and I look forward to seeing you next time.